Yo, hello there guys, Loco JB here. So there are huge ADC rune and item changes. Soon the new split will start and I want to give you guys a head start. This will be a longer video because there may be a lot to explain. Because there are a lot of changes that I may not even understand properly. Let's just get straight up to it. So we'll start from runes and then we'll migrate to builds. The notable things to watch out for that. No little tempo. No over shielding, no more extra shields. We have absorb life instead. No more legend tenacity, we have legend taste. Cut down is slightly different as well. Sudden impact is different. Relative center is slightly different, so we'll talk about everything step by step. So no little tempo. What does that mean? Champions that will utilize little tempo in the current patch, Kalista, generic little tempo champions like Jinx, they will actually fall off because some champs mainly value the attack speed and the extra range can also be nice, but that's more of a scaling thing, definitely little tempo. And so Kalista will get less piercing, which means she will have less EDPS, which can be concerning, and that extra range also does matter a lot because she could weave in 1 or 2 extra autos, which means it's 1 or 2 extra spears, right? So this may be a bit concerning for some ADCs or perhaps for some champs, of course, like Yon and Yasuo. Tryndamere also is getting buffed because little tempo is too big of a tool to take away from him. So there will be a shift on the early game meta. So champions that don't actually go for little tempo and they're totally fine with PTA like Lucian or other runes like, you name it, like at the time ADCs went for Conqueror or Fleet, depends on your champion. If you don't use little tempo, this will be a good thing for you because you will be pressured less early on by those little tempo abusers. So that's just great for you. Now let's move to PTA. It's not changed yet, but it's supposed to deal 10% more damage. And the cooldown of the 3 basic attack thing, right? It's supposed to be 1 more second. The Fleetwood Foot is also getting a rework, which is not on PBE yet, but it will actually last 0.25 more seconds, but it will heal slightly less. It's a generally good thing, I would say. It's a generally good thing. It's just a little bit. So a little bit weird because a little bit less healing but more mobility. I think generally the more mobility will be more valued. Now Triumph is a little bit changed, Presence of Mind is the same. But what about Absorb Life? The very interesting thing, it's a plant, but it's also good into Zyratis rune of choice. It's also good into Heimer perhaps, because they do have summons, Malzahar. If you play, let's say, like a champion on mid lane like Yasuo, you could get a decent amount of healing of those, so just saying. Yorick, right? So if you play against those type of champs on top lane, you can get some extra value out of Absorb Life. Beside the minions, early on the healing will not be too high. There are 6 minions overall in lane. If it's a cannon minion, of course, there are 7. So for example, that very simple logic, you multiply that 6 by 2, you're gonna get 12 healing, but this progressively, of course, gonna be higher per level. But for example, level 1, you're only gonna get 12 healing, right? Now, the more notable thing about this is that this will scale up. So this is the type of thing you would like to take if you are mainly looking to scale and you don't necessarily need Presence of Mind for extra mana. While also Triumph is more so for takedowns, but if you cannot get takedowns and you mainly hit minions to scale, then Absorb Life will be your choice of rune, especially if they have a decent amount of poke and you don't have the best speed. Now Triumph is a bit different, so what's going on? Takedowns restore 5% of your missing health, 2.5% of your max health. Now this is just weird. And you gain that sweet 20 gold. Now, what does this even mean? So it restores 5% of your missing health, right? What does that mean? Is that more? Is that less? Well, it's less than before. It's less than before, because before you got a 12%. So early on you will not get too much healing from Triumph, right? But as also depends on your HP level as well, of course. But eventually the more HP you will get in game, the more this will even up to the old Triumph. So in some perhaps more so risky situations, I do assume this will be slightly worse than the current Triumph. So that's something you should be calculated. Should calculate it in, right? Now let's move on to Legend Alacrity, same as before. Legend Bloodline, same as before. I think it does give 15 less HP, but I'm not sure. I think it had 100 before, once you stacked it up. Now, it's at most the same, but Legend Haste is different. So again, 1.5 basic ability haste for every legend stack. You stack it the same way as before. Every champion takedown, epic monster takedown, large monster kill, and the minion kill. So you're gonna get 15 ability haste. That's just sweet, because many ADC items don't necessarily provide now, or even so in this patch, ability haste. Well, at least the convenient ones don't really provide ability haste. So this 15 ability haste is just really sweet for ADCs that rather rely on, like, it will not be great on Draven, for example, but on ADCs that rather rely on having that extra cooldown. Perhaps Lucian players, I could see them taking it, in the new patch. Ezreal players definitely, or smaller players will definitely consider spellcasters mainly. Perhaps, we'll probably see some different things, right? Different champs that will use this, but this is mainly for champions that more so rely on extra abilities rather than on champions that are more so basic attack oriented, right? This will not be very useful on a Yasuo or something. We'll also see some you generally have your defensive tools up more often, even on champs like Jinx. So perhaps even on a champ where you would say, well, what the fuck am I gonna do with some extra ability haste? Perhaps people will consider to go for it. So they have their abilities up at a surprising time. Although generally you only get at most even like one rotation of E in a fight, even if we get cooldown reduction. So maybe there will be some cheesy champs that will take this, but overall spellcasters at most will take this Legend Haste. Now let's move on to Coup de Grace. Deal 8% more damage to champions who have less than 40% HP, same as before. Now Cut Down will deal 8% more damage to champions who have more than 60% health. So generally speaking, this will be more so of a jungler thing, I do believe. Depends, of course, like how likely your laners can poke. If your laners can poke or keep on the opponent around or under 60% HP, it may not be that valuable. For example, if you play an ADC and you do rely on pokes, or so does your, let's say, support does poke, or you have maybe like some random champ like Sylas, or any type of like engaged champ that could take down that 40% HP in no time, that's where you could lose like your extra damage value. So I would say if you have a good poking support, and you don't have the best target access early on, I would say this may not be the best if your support actually does damage, because you'll easily lose your extra damage. Now, less than, it's at most the same as you can visually see. It's the same thing. You take it on Duelist, on Tryndamere, super good. Mainly you'll take it on Duelist, of course. This is less so of an AD carry thing. Maybe on Samira it could be considerable, but not on many things, to be honest, not on many things. Now let's move on to like less so convenient, ADC runes. So Cheap Shot is the same. I do believe the Taste of Blood healing will be buffed, as I heard in the past. So you have 2 healing tools right now, even so 3 if you wanna get fleet. But the more important thing to watch out for, sudden impact. Okay, damaging basic attacks and ability damage is a bonus 20 to 80 true damage based on level, right? To the enemy champion after using a dash, leap, blink, teleport, or when exiting stealth. Now, often you will not get this on most of the ADCs, to be honest, especially the ones that don't have a dash, like like Ashe or Jinx. So this is definitely not for Ashe or Jinx, but this could be interesting maybe on top lane Vayne, but perhaps even so on the bot lane one, because your short trading poke can actually be quite decent. So level 1 you get 820 extra true damage, which is nice actually on a 10-second cooldown. So champions that have less or similar to that 10-second cooldown amount of cooldown on their abilities, they will actually value this a lot, because this is one of the only like high and consistent like damage runes that you can get, and it's also true damage. That's kind of sweet, right? This is kind of sweet. So this will be probably seen. Maybe we'll see it on Lucian. Perhaps in easy matchups, maybe a sudden impact with a ultimate hunter or some combination of runes. We'll see. Vayne, it could be considerable on Vayne if you don't visit. Auto plate often you need bomb plating and overgrowth, depends. But even so, sometimes you could greed for this. So if you can greed for it and you do have a dash, some type of blink leap, whatever you have, this works on abilities too, by the way. Now, often this will be more of a assassin thing, less of a AD carry thing, but on some champions like Vayne, perhaps in matchups you need that extra pressure, you could definitely consider going for it, especially if you just mainly short trade, because that could be like an insane short trading tool. You queue in basic attack, get the fleet healing, it's just real damage. That's insane, right? With the Nami as well in your team. Alright. Now, let's move on to Relentless Hunter. This is more so a Twitch AD carry thing. If you play support, it will not provide the base mobility, but at most the other runes are actually the same as I checked. I do believe they are the same. Now, let's move on to the more interesting ones where Scorch, these are the same, I think. I don't even have to check them. I think they are at most the same. Same-ish. Same. Same thing in here. Now, this is a more interesting one. The only thing that I think changed in here, this will be for your support, but because you play ADC, maybe it's nice to know like what kind of extra tool does your support have. Impairing the movement of an enemy champion restores health to you and to the lowest nearby ally champion. 70% effect for ranged users, so you're gonna get a bit less healing. Now, what does that mean? How does that exactly work? Impairing, so what does impairing mean? Does that mean CC? So as you can visually see in here on this, it's called immobilizing. So impairing only means, guys, that you have to slow someone to get that value, right? So you only have to slow, so this will work on Senna. So maybe we'll see some interesting like grass poke Senna, something, because it does work on slows as well, but it does have a 20-second extra cooldown. So it's the type of thing you want to take if you do have some type of slows in your kit. Perhaps it doesn't have to be a CC tool, and you sort of want to peel your ADC. So for example, before this used to be an on-hit thing, but now it will have a upfront healing for you and for your ADC. So if you go something like this, often you can consider to go for Font of Life for extra peel over other utilities. Because this will also heal you on a solo lane, right? So this may be also considerable for solo laners, not only for both support. On ADCs, I don't know if this will be specifically good. Maybe on Ashe, but I don't know. I don't really think so. Depends on the healing, but I don't see the flat values at all, so I'm not sure. I cannot tell you guys exacts about that yet. But let's move on to the more interesting new runes, right? Time Warp Tonic is also kind of feared, honestly, because the rest of them are the same, but these are the ones that are more so new, I do believe. So let's start with First Strike. Some Lucian players will take First Strike. Sometimes I've seen it on Ezreal. Not very generic on ADCs, but it's good to explain, it's good to know, right? Attacks and abilities against an enemy champion within 0.25 seconds of entering champion combat grants 50 gold, so it's a bit more than before, so early on you will get actually more economical advantages. It lasts 3 seconds as before, causing you to deal 8% extra damage against champions and granting 50% of bonus damage dealt as gold, right? Now, these days, the cooldown is, I think it's the same-ish. But as we can see, like, early on it does provide 10 more gold. But the healing will be less. For example, First Strike, right? I type First Strike. Wow, what the hell is this even? First Strike roll, right? We can see that First Strike currently does provide 100 to 70% value, but it has 1% less true damage, and it provides only 5 gold. So early on you will actually get, I do believe, more gold value, especially if you just go for very short trades. But eventually, even though it provides 1% more, eventually it will provide less, but this will give you, like, the thing is, the damage will be a bit higher through damage, right? But in long term you will get less gold. So in short term you will get more gold, which means you can get faster certain items. That is more of a Zix. You know, sometimes they get it on Zix, you know, these type of things basically, but not many things, not many things. So it's generally not an ADC thing. Right now I think it's somewhat interesting still on Lucian, because it still does a bit more damage. Early on it provides a little more gold, but only for very short trades. Depends how extended does it go. If it's super extended it will be less. So on very short trades this will be nice. It may lose its value on Lucian though, that's what I'm thinking of, because Lucian valued a lot that extra 35% extra gold gain. But that's totally fine. Now let's move on to the other runes. Get 6% gold back when you purchase a legendary item. Now, to put it in a good perspective, most of the items you're gonna buy are around 3000 gold or 3000 gold, right? Now 6% of 3000 is 180, but it could also calculate in a very dumb way. Because if you got the components, the item will cost less. So I'm not sure if you're gonna get 6% gold back of the total value of the item, or it just calculates in a dumb way where it you're only gonna get cash back of the current value of it. So if you have like the components, then this may give back less, depends how this works. We will see it in game as well very soon. Time warp tonic, I mean triple tonic, is the same. Now, time warp tonic, this is what I wanted to talk about. Consuming a potion grants 30% of his health restoration immediately. But it doesn't provide speed anymore. I think this is kind of useless. Maybe it's kind of a cheese thing with biscuits and refillable, whatnot, but I'm really not feeling it. Because this also scales with potions in game, but man, they aren't like, I don't know. Like, I just don't know, honestly. I'm just not feeling it. Maybe some corrupting potion tech, but I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about it. These are the same. But the Jack of all trades is a bit interesting, right? For each different stat gained from items, you need to get different stats, right? So armor, more HP, more AP, whatnot. Grant one ability ace. Gain 10 or 25 bonus adaptive force. What does 10 or 25 bonus adaptive force? So it's 10 AD or 25 AP at 5 and 10 stacks respectively. What? Gain 10 or 25 bonus adaptive force at 5 and 10 stacks. So do you get both of them or just one of them? Or do we get 25, like 25 AD, right? Oh, what the fuck is this even? So 5 stacks, right? So 5 stacks of ability ace. For each different stat gained from items, gain one jack stack. So for each different type of, each stack grants you one ability haste. So you get ability haste, so you get more cooldown for spellcasters, and so you get like 25 at max bonus adaptive force, 25 80, right? So you need to get different stats from items, right? So it cannot be the same stats. So how does this work then? So 5 to 10, right? So you get 10. That's a bit hard to get those 10 stacks, but 5 is easier. So how does that even... Well, it's just kind of weird actually. Might be a sporting, honestly, at most. So I'm not sure like how likely can you force that on an ADC. Maybe on a Kaisa. Maybe because they go for mixture of items, but I don't know. Where are the items set? Oh, but where are... Oh, here. What the fuck did I wanted to search up? Bro, I got such a mental... Oh, yeah, the fucking full items, my bad. So attack damage, right? So it has to provide different stats. But does it mean like different sets compared to another item you brought, or different sets on the item itself, right? Because this provides 3 different stats, right? So like each like item you buy should give different stats, or how does it work? Because it's kind of hard to Papa is frozen, but it's still here. But it's kind of hard to get so many different stats, right? Um, from items to reach that 10 benchmark, so you have to go for mixture of things, which I could maybe see it on Ezreal, I'm not even sure. Because Ezreal could build HP items, lethality items, sometimes we see on it. But it's kind of weird, right? It's kind of weird. Abilities and whatnot items. So I could maybe it's generally better on supports because they have like a lots of mixed stats. So maybe mages or supports, maybe Ezreal, maybe spellcasters, like Smolder, but usually it's not a generic ADC thing. Like probably on supports, I would say, because like most like this provides 4 stats. This provides mana, regen, speed, right? Like 2 items. These provide like completely different stats actually, except the ability haste. So support items tend to have like a mixture of things on them, and maybe that's why so I'm saying like they usually have 4 different like text lines. So that just generally means that it will be a bit more convenient on those. Yeah, on ADCs it's kind of hard to make it work, right? Now we covered all of the runes. Let's get into a game and let me show you guys the new items. And let's do the second part with the items. So as we see, the base items are actually the same, so you shouldn't be concerned on what the hell to get. You can get the same thing as before. Now, boots wise, are boots any different? At most, the boots are the same. Some of them, Ionian boots, are the same, right? Most of them are at most the same. Some of them are a teensy bit changed. Boots of Swiftness will be a teensy bit changed soon as well. Basically, it will provide less flat mobility, but it will provide you mobility on basic attacks. Plated Steel Caps is a bit less of an AD carry counter in the later parts of the game, but early on it will feel to be similar because it does have extra armor on it and people can acquire it faster, right? Now, Sork Shoes, same thing, but what the hell is this though? After traveling, how much? 150k units of distance, transform it to synchronized souls, right? So these are the newer boots, but this is not, I'm not sure if this is a general ADC thing, because what you're gonna get out of this is an empowered recall, which will allow you to recall faster, but the issue is on ADCs you generally wanna get berserks or defensive boots into Zephyr, right? So it's kind of, I don't know. Plus, like, you're not gonna walk all over the map, so that's kind of hard, to achieve. But it's not impossible, probably. But it's more of a roaming thing. Like, when could I even assume that ADCs take it? I mean, it's a cheap boots, but it provides less mobility than the other boots, right? Now, once you evolve it, it does provide even amount. You got also like mobility out of combat, but this is generally for roamers. I don't really see this being the best on ADCs. It provides you good recast. Maybe it will allow you to go for interesting micro plays, but I don't see it generally on ADCs. Maybe some interesting proxy shove and roam playstyle something, but I don't know. Like this is something that's fair to theorycraft, but generally don't go for it on ADCs. Other base items are at most the same, but Dagger will provide you 2% less attack speed, so not only lethal tempo is removed, also Dagger provides less attack speed for Dagger users, which will actually suck. The rest of the items tend to be the same. Critical lock will give 20%, or was it actually the seal? Oh no, it's the seal. Critical lock with 15, okay. Pickaxe, these items are the same. Now the notable thing is that recurve bow actually does if you give your attacks apply 50 physical damage on hits, which is generally worse than it was before. There are some champion exceptions, of course. Some very rare champs like Talon, he dominantly has more and more early on, but eventually his armor gonna catch up. So this is generally a nerf because most of the champs have dominantly higher armor than a Marv. For example, even if you look at Lucian, we'd have dominantly more armor than a Marv, which means this is actually a recurve bow component nerf. in very specific, like very specific case scenarios, this is possibly like a good thing, but generally not a good thing. Grievous wounds, same as before. Now, what the hell is this scout slingshot? So you get 20% attack speed, which is not much for a 900 gold item, right? Damaging a champion deals an additional 40 magic damage. Attacks reduce the cooldown of this, right? So what's the purpose of this item? So it only reduces the cooldown by 1 and it provides you a 40 damage and some attack speed. Well, some champs have double basics, so they may be able to reset it faster, but is that worth? Not really. This is a more dogshit version of Shard, because the poke is very little for that 40 cooldown, right? And I know it does reset on basics, blah blah blah, but often you need to over push the wave for that, and there are some new like good healing runes that you can use, so I don't see slingshot being a good thing. But again, this is something that builds into something, but it's not something I would recommend you guys to just cheese build it. Rectory same, Bump Scepter, I think it's at most the same, no? Sheen same, Serat same. Seal does provide you that sweet 5 more percentage actually, that's kind of nice. Okay, let's move on. Cowfield the same, Steel Sigil same. I think Hardbound X is a bit more expensive, no? I think it was cheaper before. Hexdrinker, same price. Quicksilver, same. Now, the interesting thing about Noonquiver, which does build into Shield Bow, which is kind of weird because it doesn't provide healing these days. It only provides a shield, which does scale up with levels, but I don't know, it's kind of weird that it's such a red item with no lifesteal. Or it builds into Yunta with wild arrows, right? So this component will provide you more damage on certain champs, and most of the champs will like this more. It doesn't provide attack speed and it provides 5 less AD, but this is generally a buff on Noonquiver. It doesn't provide the same wave clear, so it doesn't provide an extra 20 damage, which could be sweet sometimes, but you do get some random crits. This is generally a nice thing to be seen, especially for champions that do actually scale off with crit. So champions that fuck, I keep saying Kane. Champions like Kane will actually, champions like Kate will value it a lot. And some other champs that would rather like that extra crit over 15 attack speed and 5 more AD. So this is sort of Jin may love this as well. It depends on the champions, but this is at most a buff. Same as before, but I think it's a bit more expensive, no? Or was it? Is it the same price? I think it's the same price. Okay, so Phantom Dancer is a bit cheaper, but you don't require it to be stacked up, right? Phantom Dancer, right? So 60 attack speed, 25 crit chance, a bit more than before. You get a bit more upfront attack speed, which is also nice, and 12% sweet mobility. That's a lot of speed, right? That's a lot of speed to work with, right? It also has the Zeal as a component. Now, you don't really want to rush this as an item because it has no attack damage and no passive effect, so this is generally not your thing, bruh. This is something you not rush, but it may depend on your ADC. Jinx probably loves it, and some other like ADCs that would like to have that move speed and attack speed. And the ghosted is sometimes nice because you get to walk through champions. So what does that mean? So for example, an Aatrox will try to get on top of you, set whatever, right? And because you are always ghosted, you can walk through champions. So it's way easier to like walk through a Aatrox and he doesn't connect his third Q properly on you or on a set. So this is more so of a niche way of outplaying, or this is sometimes helpful in between minions or to maneuver in team fights, but the ghosted thing is just a cool little thing. Ignore cold ocean with other units, you know, it's just a cool little thing. Now, Ronan does provide a bit more crit, no attack damage, attack speed, move speed, right? When attacking, bolts are fired, up to 2 enemies each can crit, bolts apply on hit effects and critical. Okay, so this can crit. This is not something you get as a first item. You'll mainly just get it as a second, third ideally. as delayed as possible usually. Um, Now, Navori Flicker Blade, it's way more cheap, but it doesn't provide cooldown, but the ability reset is way faster, right? So attack speed, no attack damage, right? Crit chance and move speed, so it does provide move speed as well. So what does that mean? No AD, which kinda sucks. No cooldown, which mm, is something you can trade off in a way, because like it does reset your abilities faster, and because it provides attack speed, it does actually allow you to get those resets, you know, more smoothly. So reset wise it's similar or even better when it comes down to resetting your abilities, and the cooldown is just sweet. This is the type of thing I would highly recommend on champions like Saya. This is super nice on Saya. Any type of champions that did actually build this item before, that it will be better on Kog'Maw 100%. So on some champions that uh, did not get builded, Thronever it could be arguably good, but now it's way more convenient on Kog'Maw. On a champion like Kog'Maw, this will be 1000 times more convenient due to the sweet mobility, attack speed, and the faster reset, which is super nice. Although you don't get that percentage extra damage, so you mainly would love to have this on champions that do love a lot to reset their abilities, like Sayal. So your abilities have to be actually strong, you know. It's not like it's something you wanna get on Ash, you know. Like your base abilities have to be actually strong, you know, because it doesn't provide the damage jump nor AD. So this is kind of a kitey, even so on Lucian you could probably arguably get this. Let's see how does this feel like. So I mean that's smooth, you know. My E is not even maxed out, we don't have cooldown, but that's at most like smooth, you know, like. And I don't even have to use my Q, right? So it still provides a very smooth reset, right? And so if you have boots, then you have a very decent amount of mobility, as we can see, right? Wait, does PTA provide you speed? What the fuck? It's not even... what? Wait, does PTA provide you speed? I don't know what did get me speed. This doesn't give me speed either. Or maybe hitting it. Oh, maybe my W. Oh, my W. My bad. My bad. Now, it's still good on Lucian, so mainly on mainstream champs that already use it, it will be fine. And there will be some other like champions that will get actually like more convenient opportunities to buy this, like Kog'Maw. So keep that in mind, that this should be used on ADCs that weren't used before. Just because it provides different stats and it has a way more convenient price, right? Okay, now let's move on to rapid fire cannon. It's the same as before. Sadly, it provides only 60 bonus damage. The attack range cannot increase more than 150 units. So it's more limited. I'm not sure if it was limited before. I don't think so. Was it? I think it was, no? Not sure. And gains 30% attack range, right? So moving and attacking generates the energy, it provides attack speed, no AD, a bit more crit, a bit more mobility. So more mobility, more crit. So this is something you still want to get on Lucian and so on some other poking champs. The price is also quite low, so even though like the damage is not super high these days on it, it's still something that you need as a utility tool. And I don't say you should get your items in this order as I'm getting. I'm just saying that this should be still a thing that was... It's the same thing as before. In just some games it may be a bit more questionable to go for, but it's something you should still go for. It's just like these days there are very good DPS items. There are some new items here and there that will provide you DPS. So you really have to ask yourself if you need that extra poke, if you need that extra range, or would you rather go for some other like DPS items, you know? Because for now it provides a very little amount of bonus magic damage and no AD, so just saying. Witsend, 55% attack speed, 50 magic resist, 20 tenacity, same as before. Same stats. Now, Manamune. Manamune, I don't think so it's changed at all. I think it's the same. It's the same. Now, Static is a bit different. It's maybe a bit more convenient, but it doesn't provide you crit, which is a bit random, no? No? Yes or no? It's weird because it doesn't provide crit. It's a bit weird, this item. I'm not sure what to say. It's kind of weird that it doesn't provide crit, but it has different utility, of course. So which champion would exactly not build crit and they would like to have attack speed and attack damage? That's what I'm thinking of. Like, and loves to wave clear as well. Like most of the ADCs would actually love to have like less attack speed and crit. Like this is kind of weird. But I think people will mainly take it obviously for the electroshock passive, so let's see that in action. I thought this will have no cooldown, but it apparently does have a... oh Jesus, the dummies are messing a little bit with the minions. So let's see how does this feel like. Oh shit. So it does bounce, but it has a cooldown, right? But this can bounce to champions as well, so this can be an interesting poking tool, because that 90 damage every 3 seconds does matter a lot. So I do suppose this might be a queen top lane type of thing. Probably queen top, I could see it, because like you can bounce off some pokes off minions to champions, which that I'm saying, like, it has only a 3-second cooldown, you know, this electrospark, or how is it called, or electrospark, right, which will allow you to get some more pokes in, which is just great. And so on champion takedowns you will actually get 270 magic damage instead, right, at max. So this just generally means that in team fights you'll have more multi-kill opportunities, but my only problem with it is it doesn't provide lethality, and it doesn't like really provide crit, so I would say this is queen top thing, and on bot lane, I don't know, this is just a bit weird, because like often you will not even get poke value out of it. I know you mainly take it for the wave clear, but I don't know, honestly, I don't know. I mean, probably it's just still nice. It's still static as it was before, but it's just like wave clear static, you know. But it's a bit inconvenient that it doesn't have crit, which makes it a bit weird. So it's just mainly like, I'm not even sure if it will be a bot lane thing static. That's the thing about it. But I mean, it's still similar or even better perhaps at getting prios. And it has AoE damage, which can be sometimes nice, I guess, in team fights, but I don't know. It's just weird that it doesn't have a crit. I don't have a full opinion about this, but probably the same. You get it the same way as before. On Tristana meets stuff like that, Queen Top, you know, roamers. Not sure to... I think it got slightly nerfed, no? Doesn't show us exacts about that. Okay, that's fine. Now let's move on to Queen's, right? So is Queen's changing anyway? Same stats. Same everything, basically, attack speed. I think it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Okay, perfect. Shield bow will not provide you, as I said earlier in the video, lifesteal, which is kind of weird because based on how it looks like it should. And so when you are under like 30% health, you will actually gain a 380 shield. It's also 3000 gold, this immortal shield bow. So this will allow you to survive burst. This is something you generally take against champions that you cannot deal with so easily. Anti-assassin stuff, you know, definitely helps you to survive, but it doesn't provide lifesteal at the and nor attack speed, nor it's a bit weird, but I think it should be fine. It's a bit weird, but it should be fine. Now, I think you just mainly take it defensively, you know. Now there are some other defensive tools as well, like Terminus, but Terminus doesn't provide that much amount of shield, right? It just provides mixed stats. Lord Dominic's will be super nice, extra crit and extra pen. So generally speaking, if you're ahead, this will be better. If you're behind with levels and there is some HP difference, it may feel to be somewhat similar, but the good thing is Collector did get buffed a teensy bit on the crit side, I believe, but a little bit of a lethality nerf, but I think it gets 5 more AD as well, if I see it correctly. So combining Collector and Lord Dominic's, I mean, there is IE as well that provides you big fat stats, but Lord Dominic's is a bit cheaper. Of course, you can have all of them. I would say if you're higher on economy, maybe Infinity Edge is a bit nicer than Lord Dominic's, depends, because that's already 50% crit, and because you have 10 more percentage crit, that extra 50% critical strike damage will be sweeter than before. So I would say probably third item Lord Dominic's, even on lethality gems. at most. Because of the increased probability, the extra crit damage will be nicer, so it will be generally something like, you know, something collector Samira, you know, like this, you know, like this. Definitely super nice stats for a Samira as an example. Alright, so we got that mortar reminder, bit more, you know, it's the same, it's just a bit more pan, a bit more crit, you know. I think the pan got buffed before actually. Terminus, I think it's the same. It's the I think it got something got changed on it, but I'm not exactly sure. But does it stack faster, or I'm not sure, but something got stacked, but I changed, but I don't see it with my eyes. Now Kraken's lair is also sort of interesting, so this will be kind of a on-hit champion thing. So Kraken attack damage, attack speed, so more attack speed and 5 more attack damage, right? So that's also kind of nice, and extra mobility, so you'll have more chasing power. Every third basic attack is 225 physical damage on hit. Every third basic, right? Increased up to 150%, so it's not 200% as it was before, so it only goes up to 465. So this will be the general thing that you will usually get, I would say, with Queen. So ever since it got changed, it may feel to be super nice. But this is a it's a non-crit, like mainly for non-crit champs, you know. It's not really like a if you want to have single target damage, I would say this could be the ideal build. Super convenient to have that extra mobility as well. Okay, let's move on. Step by step we learn all of them. The Omnivamp, it provides Omnivamp, not lifesteal anymore, and I do believe it provides cooldown and more damage, so I think this will be a nice item. Mainly for Jhin. Other ADCs will get some value out of it. On Jhin this will be super nice. Now of course once you have some items, ADCs will get also value out of it, so this will be nice to survive Magic Burst, so definitely should get that against that feast probably. Definitely still very useful. Yule-Tal, Arrow, whatever. You can get IE as well with it, so it's you're not limited to like what can you like combine with this Yunta Wild Arrow thing, right? So it's not limited as it was before. This has a scaling on it, right? So critical strikes apply a stacking bleed that deals 85 physical damage over 2 seconds. But how much does this stack? That's the question. It's not written on the item, so it doesn't have the best transparency. So is it even worth the first item? So let's see how many times this can stack, right? 1. Yeah, I don't see any bleed. So how much does it stack then? 15. So the damage doesn't increases, but it doesn't show any like what do you mean stack? Wait. Let's just put some HP on it, maybe some armor or something, no? Maybe that's why it's bugged. Now I know I could use the commands as well, but we can also just like tug it out, you know. So let's see how good this wild arrow thing will feel like, right? This cannot crit, that tick cannot crit, right? Critical strikes hits apply stacking bleed, right? So you have to crit as well, by the way. So if you don't crit, you don't apply. So does that like stack, or like let's get some crit items then. So how does that work then? 13, but it doesn't show like a number, or it does, okay. So it can go beyond, So but does that increase the damage or the duration? Because the damage seems to be the same. Now it may be a practice tool bug, so I'm not sure if that's a duration increase or a damage increase. Seems to be a bit of a joke of an item. Just because you need a lot of like items to like back it up. But I don't know, like let's see it, you know, how it performs. Maybe you need to be like full build, full rank, full everything. So let's see, so it goes up to like 7 stacks at max so far, but maybe we can be 6 stacks, it looks like 6 stacks, 7 stacks. But you have to be very like fierce with your attack speed, right? So at max you will get it up to 6, 7, sometimes 7, but so it does stick quite nicely, right? But it does expire quickly. So how does this stack? Cause I'm kinda lost on this. Let's try it on a real champion. So it stacks on crit, right? So how does that even like? So 1, 2, it does 14, right? So the duration 2 stacks, right? So does it tick more? Then I do believe it does tick twice, you know. So it does tick more, I think, no? So there are more ticks on my screen as I noticed, because in here there's 1 tick, 14, but there were more ticks when there were more stacks. So look, 1, 2, yeah, there are more ticks on the screen. There are more ticks, so it will provide you more tick damage. I mean, this is an item, right? This is definitely an item, but early on it feels to be overwhelming, and you also have to go in a very extended fight. Now, is this better than IE? Well, specifically it works well with attack speed compared to IE, so champions that are a bit more attack speed oriented, and it does provide bleed, which can be interesting if, I don't know, maybe they have randoms or something, I don't know. Like, it provides a bleed, but it's only a 2-second duration. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Because impressive wise, like, that bleed did it. Like, I'm full build. Okay, probably I could bang at maybe IE or something, but this doesn't scare of crit damage. So, yeah, I don't know, maybe it needs a buff, but it doesn't, like, feels to be super. Like, look, that's whatever. Because that's in the late game. I'm full build Lucian. Okay, maybe I have Runas, maybe I have Phantom Dancer, whatever. But even if I would have physical damage items, would it do too much of a difference? 35%, I mean, that's not a lot, but let's say like we would have somewhat of a right build. I mean, depends on like, depends, I guess. Let's just like try it with a more of a real build, I guess. Maybe we get a potion, so. So it's 138, so maybe because of the random build probably, that's why a little bit it could fall off as well. So the current damage on it is 829, okay, 259. So we got it up to 6 stacks, right? But you gotta be very quick, because otherwise it so we got it to 6 stacks, and we got some DPS on the enemy champion. So it did do some damage. Right? But I'm not exactly sure when is the stick damage better, honestly, than IE, right? Because even on attack speed, like, I really don't know. Like, even on champs that you have attack speed on, like Zeri or whatever, Jinx, like, I don't actually even know when is the stick better, because it seems to be a bit weak, no? And it's hard to maintain it. You see like how quickly it expires. Like, it's hard to like ramp it up beyond 6, you know. So over 2 seconds it does 138 damage, right? It's not like you're gonna get that like, let's say, like a juicy value out of it. You could maybe get IE as well and this, but I think you have to choose. So 538 and plus stick, right, which does stack infinitely. So you kind of have to multiply with that 138 by that 6, right, in 2 seconds, right? So in 2 seconds. But if you maintain it, I think the tick. So I think it's all about, it comes down to like you have to like get the tick on the enemy champion, but you have to maintain it. So they have to have the type of comp where you see, like, if you are just basic attacking and I'm not getting these insane like ease of perma, then it's hard to maintain. So 5 ticks, 5, 6 ticks, but sometimes it goes down to 4 if I'm not using abilities, So I think we multiply very easily that 5 with that 138. Then we're gonna get a nice number, you know, over 600 ticks per 2 seconds, I think, right? So if we perma maintain that, I don't know. It's questionable because early on it sucks damage wise, you know, and it's hard to maintain it of basic attacks, right? You have to be a very fast attacking champion, And Illusion, it kinda works because you have double basics, but I mean, if I have Infinity Edge, like, this just provides sweet amount of AD and crit damage, right? Like, 716, right? So there is, like, certainly a damage difference as well. And my passive can crit, right? So I don't suppose that... I mean, you could get both, maybe. There's an argument maybe to get both against some heavy tanks. But maybe you need to combine it with like runas, but I think some buff is in order because it's a very expensive item for its value, so has to be built on very specific gems. Bread of Drinking, more base stats as we can visually 6% enemy current health, physical damage, right, for range gems. That's what you'll get mainly as an ADC. Attacking a champion 3 times slows them by 30%, so it's more dog shit or what. Well, it kind of sucks in a way, because like you don't get the slow up front, and that sometimes it sucks more, sometimes it sucks less. So let me just buy it. I think it is just a downgrade, because you also get less percentage damage, which often matters more than the flat damage, no? Like I don't know. I don't know. It seems to be weird to get it on an ADC, except if you get one hit. Because this provides like lifesteal, you know, but GA, upon taking little damage, restore 50%. Yeah, it's at most the same, but its price is gigantic. Holy. Mercurius Scimitar, it provides lifesteal like back in the good old time. Magic resist, attack damage, no crit though. That's a bit concerning if you have to go Mercurius Scimitar, because you don't have the crit, but you do still get a nice amount of you know, anti-CC part. Now, it raises a question, should you then go for, oh, it has actually one Mercury Scimitar, they didn't add that, the other, like, item, but that's whatever. But it raises the question if you should finish it, Quicksilver, because you may not want to finish Quicksilver forever. It kinda skipped a little bit Essence River, so I think it's more dog shit. Early on it will, I don't know, cause like on abilities on many champs that builded this, you do get a nicer amount of mana back, but this works on hit, so on double basic attacks like Lucian does have in his kit, it will be super valuable. So even if you basic attack minions, you're gonna get mana back, and this does scale with 80, of course. Well, I'm not sure honestly how to feel about this. I see this as kind of an Ezreal nerf, no? Mana management wise. Especially if he at max gets to like use his Q to poke, while also it has no spell blade effect, which is a bit concerning, but it does provide a sweet amount of cooldown, which is super nice to actually like reset your ability as Lucian, so that may not be the end of the world scenario. Fully stack runes, so 15, do we actually have that, or is it bugged? Looks like it looks a bit bugged, but you see, like with Lucian, it's quite easy to like reset your E. Like you see how nicely you reset your E with the new Navari, right? It provides extra attack speed, you know. So it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice how you reset it actually. Boots of choice, like I have the 15 haste, but it's not like, I think it's either a visual bug or you don't have it at all, I'm not sure. But it's supposed to provide me more ability haste for smoother E resets, but that's whatever for now. Okay. So I would say like, I'm not sure, but you don't have better options on Lucian because you need to reset your ability. You kinda need that mana. So this will be worse on Draven, probably I would assume. Way worse. On Lucian you still kinda have to go for, I don't suppose there are better options, because many items don't give crit towards your R. And Kraken, I don't know, I mean it provides mobility, a bit more AD attacks, but I don't know. I mean probably still can get it at some point, right? We already talked about these, now let's go to Infinity's Edge, more price, but also notably the attack damage, the crit chance is higher, so it's like back in the good old times, guys, no? It's like back in the good old times, no? Where you could actually get a sweet value out of ice. Scaling wise it will be better. If you're ahead, this item will be more scary once you have it, especially because most of the items will provide you more crit chance, which means that you're more likely gonna get that sweet critical strike damage bonus amp on your crit because of the increased probability. Now Bloodthirster, whew, I mean this scales per levels, right? This shield is not like 400 from the base, right? So 50 starts with 50 goes 400. So a huge amount of attack damage, lifesteal, but you're gonna get crit of 4 items, so you may still get Bloodthirster later on as a defensive choice. This would be a nice defensive choice due to its lifesteal, super nice. Shield, definitely great defensively. So I would say this is like your universal defensive tool. Which I would say it's just nice to have on most of the champs. So it's basically like the old Bloodthirster. Now, any of the fighter items that are notable to point out, most of them are at most the same, as you guys can visually see. As you guys can see, most of the fighter items are actually the same. With some, I think Heartbreaker, no, I think it's the same. But there are some new items like Black Cleaver being buffed, which just raises some questions if it could be an interesting consideration. Good old Bork and Black Cleaver Illusion probably is not gonna be the best build, but it raises some questions if Ash should go for it like in the good old times. Perhaps Lucian, not really, because you have like better pen options, but you know, it's just like better on grapes, you know, as an ADC. So it's generally better than it was before. Maybe there will be some interesting Zeri, some interesting extra HP, gives you some extra survivability. Maybe on spellcasters like Smolder, maybe, but like Lord Dominic's is kind of sweet, so I don't know. Maybe there's a word for it, but I don't really see it because there are many sweet ADC options. The other ones will be at most the same. Spell hits grant stacks for 6 seconds up to 4. So this will provide you 12% extra damage, same as before. Thunder Sky, same as before, a bit nerfed of course. Death Dance, it will provide I think a bit more stats than before, but it's a bit nerfed on ADCs. So I think it provides more like, so it's kind of considerable to go for it, even though it's only a 10%, just because like it provides you like nice amount of damage, cooldown, offensive durability, right? That's what is written on the item, so maybe sometimes it could be considered perhaps now and then. But there is also GA as a defensive armor choice. Some ADCs can go Zanye. Some other things to watch out for, these are at most the same and generally they are not usable, not the best usable on ADCs now. Overlord's but Mary Sword, not really. Gain bonus, 2% bonus of gain 2% of your bonus health as attack damage, right? So you're gonna get like how much attack damage from Tyranny 22 at level 18, so that's not gonna be much. Is it generally for Scion or for some other HP stackers, bruisers, whatnot? So this is usually not for you. This provides you 10% attack damage based on your missing health, but it's still not worth for you at most, I would say. Maybe we'll see some tank ADCs, but then you don't have DPS, I don't know. Probably there will be some cringe baits, but I don't see the item being good. Trinity Force is at most the same, so there is not much to say about these items. Overall, the main things to watch out for, as I said before, there are some new items. Nabori is more convenient on most of the champs. Yuan-Tal Valderos, as I said before, you get it in specific situations. Essence is worse on Ezreal and on some ADCs like Draven, so that's something to watch out for. Some items do not provide crit, but they are better with a on-hit setup, of course. These things are way more snowbally. Things like Lord Dominic's or I can be a bit more snowbally, perhaps, right? Same as Collector. From the other hand, basically, Phantom, we already talked about it. So as a wrap up, some items will work similarly, so you need to build them, but some champions will change build paths, so that's something to watch out for, as I at most explain it to you guys. Some of the items will not be so functional and some of the items will be more functional on specific champs. That's it for now, guys. Have a nice day.